And we're back. What's up, everybody? Welcome to my live fake talk show right here on Facebook. The 420 Report. Good to have you. Wherever you're watching from, probably on the replay at this point. I don't see the audience building just yet, but as people join in on the live feed, let me go over my upcoming show dates. I got a lot of shit coming up in Michigan, Indiana, Nebraska, Colorado, all coming up soon in August and September. So be on the lookout for those as details become finalized, and I'll put all the information in the comments and video descriptions and let you know about that. But this Saturday night, I'll be in Deer Creek, Illinois. Where are my Illinois friends? Head on over to Deer Creek. It's just outside of Peoria, just a little ways. And it's at Buddy's Restaurant and Bar. Tickets are going fast. They're not quite sold out yet. So grab your tickets if you want to head on over there this Saturday night, Buddy's Restaurant Bar. You're going to go to barcomictix.com as well and buy your tickets online. You can get not all of them, almost all of my shows are on there that are confirmed and ready to go. And then in about a week, I travel to the Quad Cities. You know, my stomping grounds right there on the Mississippi River. I'll be performing at the Mississippi Valley Fair in Swashbucklers, playing a comedy pirate. I'll actually be the hero of the show, so to speak. Daring Dirk de Bloon. I got to work on my pirate voice. I got to figure that out. Hey, Skylar, what's up? Hey, Steve, good to see you, my friend. And a lot of people joining in. All right. Hey, and hit the share button if you don't mind. Leave any comments or questions as we go along. And otherwise, hit me up with maybe a like or go on to any of my social medias at The Bar Comic, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, etc., etc., etc. Woo! Last night I'm hanging out with Mrs. JerDog, a.k.a. Hot Karen, my beautiful wife. We're hanging out with a couple of our friends here in town. I'm going to be gone for about a week and a half. So we're doing date nights. We're doing like a date night marathon leading up to my departure. Well, I'll also be taking my oldest son, Caius, with me when I do that comedy pirate show. He is going to be serving on a backstage Jones as a sound tech during that show, which will be a lot of fun. My dad used to do that show with me, not the pirate show, but he used to work with me in that same company that puts on these comedy shows at fairs, festivals, amusement parks all over the country. That's how I got my start in comedy way back in 1994. Learning it on the streets, literally 5 shows a day, right there in front of an amusement park crowd. You have to gather them up. You got to call them up. You got to create a crowd on the spot spontaneously, and then just go with it, no matter how hot it is. Like I was talking about yesterday, rain or shine, sleet or snow, you do not cancel the comedy show. The show must go on. And way back in the day when I got that gig, back in the mid-90s, my dad actually joined up with that crew as well because he was a big Wild West nerd, He's no longer with us, but when I'd go to my dad's house, he used to have, tons of Wild West movies, Wild West books, Wild West motif art all over the walls. And so he was a huge Wild West fan, and then here I was in a comedy Wild West show, so he joined the crew, and now coming up, as on a part-time basis, he actually had a real job that he had to go to during the week, but on the weekends he would suit up and come on out and play the town sheriff to my dim-witted, obnoxious punchline throwing out deputy, and that was a hell of a team. I've got a picture of it over there. Maybe I should go grab it. I'll go grab the picture. Hang on a second. I'm grabbing the picture right now. I've got it framed on the wall. Hang on. Stick with me. Don't leave. I know I left my live fake studio. So check it out. Here's the photo. There it is. That's me when I was like 19, 20, 21 years old, something like that. And there's my dad standing right next to me, cursing me out. Not really cursing me out, comedically cursing me out. You can't use curse words when you do these shows at fairs, festivals, and amusement parks. You know, it's got to be family friendly, which is a little bit of a departure from the standard JerDog comedy roadshow material where I go full on rated R. Somebody asked me that this weekend. They go, "How risque is your show?" And I go, "Dude, full frontal rated R." You know, that's why I perform in bars, nightclubs, and not churches and schools. Hey, Jennifer, what's up? Billy, how are you? Yeah, you see, and if you look at this picture of my dad and I, we actually made like physically, that's a good comedy team. One, you know, a fat dude and a tall, skinny dude. It's very much a throwback to like Abbott and Costello days, Laurel and Hardy days. And he was the straight man. I was the punchline deliverer. And I got to be honest with you, when you do those types of shows, when you have a comedy team that you're working with, and which I still like to do comedy teams as much as possible. That's actually my favorite thing to do. Love getting on stage and just doing my one-man 90-minute show. Absolutely 100%. I'm not trying to take away from that at all. But my favorite type of comedy to do is where I've got somebody on stage that I'm working with. I like to do team comedy, you know. You don't see that a whole lot these days, comedy teams. But that used to be pretty much like standard protocol, you know. You had the Smothers Brothers. You got a few comedy teams out there now, but not very many. It's pretty rare. And that, you know, you got to have the straight man. You got to have the guy that does the jokes. And truth be told, when it comes to comedy, playing the straight man is actually more challenging in a lot of ways, because the natural tendency when you get in front of an audience is to try to crack all the jokes and get all the laughs. That is definitely what my penchant was when I was in my come up years, is I was just trying to immediately go for the quick joke. A lot of times, you know, back then I wasn't completely comfortable being on stage and trying to make a crowd of strangers laugh. So, you know, silence, even if it was a build up to the punchline, a lot of times would make me nervous. And that nervousness, sometimes I would rush to, you know, cracking a one-liner or getting the joke out there. And maybe that would even screw up the scene every once in a while. The more challenging part when you're in a comedy team, I feel like, is the straight man. And I could be wrong about this, but if you think about like Martin and Lewis or Abbott and Costello, and if you were to go back and read any of their biographies or what it was like when they were putting together their act and coming up in the ranks and gaining their notoriety, the straight man almost always got paid more. It was like he was usually, it wasn't a 50-50 split. It was like a 60-40 split. And the reasoning behind that was they felt that they could find anybody to come in and just deliver a punchline, but it takes actual, legitimate, real talent to be able to appropriately set up the punchline for the funny man, and then on top of that, appropriately react to it. A lot of times the audience isn't just laughing at the punchline that was delivered by the funny man, but they're equally, their subconscious, their psychology is more triggered by the reaction of the straight man. Like if you think about this, I don't know if you watch any of these old school silent movies, like I get into that sometimes, like old Charlie Chaplin silent movies. Yeah, you're laughing at what the tramp is doing. You know, he's doing his crazy, silly ass Charlie Chaplin routine. But what you really laugh at is like when he kicks the Keystone Cop in the butt and the cop has this reaction to what he's doing. It's like if the authority that the funny man is making fun of does not have the reaction, then a lot of times it just doesn't come off as bucking the authority that much. It doesn't come off as rebellious all that much. And then it kind of kills the laugh a little bit. But that's just my opinion. What do I know? I've only been doing comedy for 25 fucking years. And that said, that is one of the things that brought me into stand-up comedy to begin with. It was a total disregard for authority, anti-authoritarian all the way. I was hanging out with my wife last night at a campfire with some of our friends. This is how we got onto this whole fucking story to begin with. And then I got derailed, with nostalgic memories, talking about doing comedy with my dad. Anyway, last night I'm hanging out with Karen, and we're I don't know how the topic came up, but we recalled that when we first got married, she was amazed at how many out of nowhere, mysterious or long forgotten about traffic tickets, legal violations, etc., that I brought into our new marriage. I mean, it was 1999. A lot of places were just coming online at about that time. They were digitizing all their paperwork, the paper files that they might have had stacked up for years and years and years in the courthouse. And now finally all that stuff was getting connected and put online. And we would completely out of nowhere, where suddenly I had like a $500 fine going way back to the mid 90s. And the funniest one is they and it wasn't funny, it's funny now, but and even when I brought it up last night, I could tell she was a little bit irritated about this memory. Is she couldn't get her driver's license. There was one point when my wife could not actually get her driver's license renewed because for some reason one of my violations was affecting her record, and she had to go into the courthouse, find out what this was all about so that she could get it taken care of and get her driver's license renewed. And they're like, hang on, we need to pull the files. And so they pull the file, or they look it up on the computer or whatever, and they're like, oh yeah, this is for Jeremy Danley illegally distributing alcohol to minors. And my wife was like, what the hell? What does that have to do with me? I want to see the paperwork. Let me see the ticket. What is this all about? And then she looks on the ticket, and it was dated something like March of 1994. So here I am, 19 years old, getting a ticket, a violation for distributing alcohol to minors, yet I, at that time, was a minor. I was only like 19, 20 years old. They're like, oh yeah, so she brings that up to him. She's like, well, he was born in 75. He didn't even turn 21 until May of 1996. How the hell could he get a violation for distributing alcohol to minors in 1994? They're like, oh, well, he was the minor. We gave him a ticket for possession of alcohol and then distributing of alcohol to a minor, but he was the minor. He distributed to himself. So now we have to take care of like this slew of tickets. And I remember, man, this was like a huge problem. And I kept saying, I'm so sorry. I didn't know, I was completely fucking irresponsible back in those days. I didn't give a shit. Like I said, my natural tendency is to be rebellious, buck authority, total disregard for the rules, and I didn't realize how that might affect my future. I was young, dumb, full of cum. I was an imbecile, a moron, an idiot. I know you can't say those words anymore, but whatever, I'm saying them. I'm keeping that shit. I was an absolute fucking troublemaker. And in a lot of ways, I made this comparison last night. I go, in a lot of ways, I'm kind of like Clint Eastwood in that movie Unforgiven. I mean, never mind all the actual bank robberies and murder and whatnot, but just the fact that you've got this crazy, out of control, anti-authoritarian dude that winds up getting reformed and tamed and turned into a responsible, productive human being because he found a woman that he fell in love with, and she fucking changed his ways. And I go in a lot of ways. That kind of reminds me of our relationship, hon. Like if we hadn't got married, I would probably be in fucking prison right now. I really would. I'm an absolute troublemaker. Natural born smartass. Natural born troublemaker. Always will be. Always have been. Probably always will be. Which, of course, makes me perfect for doing live stand-up comedy at nightclubs, taverns, and neighborhood bars, because most of these crowds that I play for, I bet some of them are fucking on the run from the cops. And then I can rescue. I go, you know, if it weren't for you, I would probably be in jail. She was like, what do you mean if it weren't for me, you'd be in jail? You've been to jail since we got married. And that'll be another story for another video on another day. That's right. Yours truly, the mighty JerDog. I've done some hard time, baby. 8 hours, hard time. That's right. All right. Any comments? Steve, my man, my business advisor. My fake business advisor is Vito Corleone, but my actual real life business advisor is Steve Cypress. And I know that I've got a lot of bars and clubs. I've got a lot of local entrepreneurs, local small business owners that watch my video, and that's who I like to network with. And I highly recommend hitting up my friend Steve at his website, which I believe is helpfromsteve.com, and he'll help you out if you're so inclined. Billy, what's up, buddy? Hello, Teresa. Oh, there's a good question. Steve, how did your dad feel that way about your partnership? In other words, I probably passed by. I wonder how. Here's my dad loved it. So I'm not exactly sure what that question is specifically in regards to, but I will say this: my dad would go back, and it was one of the things that he would tell other people about how much he was looking forward to coming out and doing those shows with the boy. I get to work with the boy. And yeah, he loved playing the straight man. It was like it was a way for him to get out all his aggression in a comedic, positive, productive way that also benefited others. Like he had 20 years of built up frustration of dealing with a smart ass son his whole life. He used to, one of the jokes that I do in my show, I go, and I'm gonna kill it right now, but he goes, the joke I do in my show is my dad used to, when I'd get in trouble, he used to make me go find the switch. Go pick your switch, boy. That means you had to go out in the yard and pick the stick that he would beat you with. I would always drag in like a yacht log. He'd go, get me something smaller. I'd come back with a Q-tip. Total smart ass. And it was probably fine. It was a good way for him to eventually release all that frustration, but in a fun, positive, productive way, like I said, in a comedic way. And we got to work. We had a hell of a chemistry, and we looked alike. So it was a very unique situation. And it's going to be a lot of fun next week when I travel to the Mississippi Valley Fair, playing Daring Dirk Doubloon in the comedy pirate show Swashchucklers. And I'm going to have the mighty Jer Pup in tow. So that'll be 3 generations of Danleys doing the comedy shows at fairs, festivals, and amusement parks. All right, I'll be back tomorrow. Hump Day Happy Hour at 4:20 p.m. Eastern Time, or as close as possible. Otherwise, this Saturday night, Deer Creek, Illinois. That's right, July 27th, this Saturday. Buddy's Restaurant and Bar. We're going to be giving away some prizes. Tickets are still available now. I've got a lot of more shows coming up. Michigan, Nebraska, Indiana, Colorado, Wisconsin, Montana in October. It's all going to be there. And if you want to get tickets to any one of those, you can go to barcomictix.com. barcomictix.com. And otherwise, I'll be back here on the daily at 4:20 p.m. or as close as possible. Steve Cyper, did he think you were the more talented one of the duo? That anyone can. My mistake. I thought you were the straight man. No wonder you're confused by my idiotic question. Oh, no, I was like physically, I was a straight man, and physically, my dad was the round man. I guess we could go with that. Billy, yeah, come see me in Indiana. Teresa, Ohio. I know I'm going to have some shows coming up in Ohio soon. I'm in talks. There's nothing confirmed and on the books now, but I will let you know as soon as I know. And wherever you're watching from, comment that below. Anybody else who wants to know when the JerDog Comedy Roadshow will be coming to your area soon, just let me know where you are watching from in the comments below, and I will reply with the show date that I will be in your area, if there is one. No, Steve, there is no such thing as idiotic questions, only idiotic people. And you, my friend, are not one of those. Good grief. All right, that's it. Comments and everything's coming in soon or fast. And I will be coming to your area soon. And I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up now. I've been flopping my trap for 20 minutes. That's probably about 19 minutes too long. I'll see you tomorrow. Hump Day Happy Hour. I'm going to crack open a drink. I will see you here, 4:20 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, or as close as possible. My fake live talk show, the 420 Report. Dog bless America. Dog bless America. That means end. Thank you. Good night.